Hello everyone, it's your boy Kanon Sasuke here, back at it again with another new spanking hot what if video. Like I promised earlier this morning, I am back at it again with another new spanking hot what if video, and today is something similar due to the title, but completely different. A while ago, I made What If Naruto Was Turned Into a Demon. By the way, heads up, I'm going today or tomorrow or whenever possible, I will be doing 3 part 2s to videos. I have not done part 2s yet. 1, Jubito Deku. 2, 10 Tails Naruto. And 3, I'll be adding another part to What If Naruto Was Turned Into a Demon. Okay. So without any further ado, let's begin. Now for those who are wondering, wait, what is this? What if? This is what if Naruto was born, was basically, well, there's many different names I've been thinking about, but this one suits it best. What if Naruto was corruption? Now, allow me to explain how this works. But first, before we begin with our story, before the beginning, there is the beginning of the beginning. Many years ago, on Earth, and many years ago, there was a powerful human, or what people thought to be as a human. His name was Minato Namikaze. However, when no one was looking, he would show his true form. Minato was not exactly human. Well, scratch that, he wasn't human. More such, he was a demon. A powerful one, too. He was the demon of storms, the weather, and lightning. And plasma. If you don't know, plasma is what lightning, aurora borealis, and bioluminescence is made out of. So, yeah. Minato pretended to be human. Why? Because he had fallen in love with a human. However, if he came to her looking like this, his true form, you think any woman would want to date him? No, they would shun him. And so Minato got the idea of looking like a human. He created a perfect human form, Minato, and went under the name Minato Namikaze, while his actual name was Minato Morningstar. As well, Minato would rush with things a bit. He would make his first big appearance in the Third Shinobi War, where he would defeat many soldiers with minimal effort. In reality, he could have snapped his fingers and they would have died. However, he wanted only Kushina's attention, not the entire planet's attention. So, he won the war by slim margins. However, to everyone else, he was a hero. And then he became the 4th Hokage. Minato decided to keep up with the being human charade until one night a beast came to the village. It was the birthday of his son, as he named him Naruto Namikaze. Minato was happy for his son to be born until a man with a mask came in. Minato, obviously, he had the ability of, plasma. And if you didn't know, plasma is also in one's blood. So, he was able to, sense who this person was. However, he had to obviously pretend to be a human. As he then said, who are you and why are you here? As the masked man, aka Obito, said, Ed, give me the 9 tails. Give me the 9 tails and or your son gets it. As he was holding a kunai to Naruto. This angered Minato. As for what seemed like a millisecond, a demonic flame swirled within his eyes, but instantly cooled down, as he did not want to burst out in power. However, Obito, obviously having a Sharingan and a freaking Rinnegan, saw this. And saw his eyes glowing, as he then wondered, what the? Sensei's eyes have never glowed before. Weird. As, the battle goes to canon, as 9 Tails is frayed. Now when this happens, oh ho ho. Basically, you can thank Toby and Obito for what's about to happen next. Before you continue watching the video, just put in the comments what the hell you think will happen, and say thanks a lot, Toby or Obito. Back to the video. As, Obito had freed the 9 Tails from Kushina, which, sadly, meant that Kushina would die. As the 9 Tails was free, as Obito, aka Toby, would then use his Sharingan to put a Genjutsu under the 9 Tails. The Genjutsu was powerful, far more powerful than anything, and he had and far powerfuler than many other genjutsu. Well, not really. It was a normal class genjutsu. Sorry, I got lost in thought. Anyways, it was a normal genjutsu, which easy to break from the outside. From the inside, not so much. Well, I mean, it would be easy to break from the inside, just it would take a little time. As Obito would place the Nine Tails under the genjutsu and would have it run rampant and destroy everything. But what crossed the line was when Obito made the Nine Tails' claw go right through Kushina. As then, something unexpected happened. A black and red sort of mist peeled from Minato's skin. Obito was intrigued of this, as suddenly around Minato's two normal human-looking hands came two black giant claws. As he then rushed at the speed of a flying Raijin at Obito. Obito felt fear as he tried to use his jutsu, the Kamui, but somehow Minato then said, "I don't think so," as he then snapped his finger, and suddenly the Kamui didn't work. As Minato then raised his hand out, as he had then said, demon style, Hellborn Rasengan, as what appeared to be a Rasengan, but black and red and swirling with what appeared to be 10 different kinds of elements, appeared in Minato's hands, as he then threw it at Obito. Obito's entire arm then started melting, as obviously this is the Zetsu arm, as he then dashed away. As for the Nine Tails, due to what had happened to Obito, hold on. Due to what happened to Obito, the Genjutsu wore off. Nine Tails was confused and saw what happened. Now, for the sake of plot convenience, the 10 Tails and the nine Biju are separate beings. I mean, basically, the 10 Tails exists at the exact same time as the other 9, okay? Does that make sense? And also, for plot convenience, they're actual demons. Now, Kurama was a demon lord, and was basically a demon of, wind and fire. Of wind, fire, light, and dark. Or yin and yang. As he looked directly and saw as he looked at Minato and saw what had happened, as Kurama was terrified. As Kurama then began swirling, as Kurama's tails began swirling around Kurama, until it appeared that Kurama was in like a rose form, but like a rose that wasn't just about to bloom, but not quite ready yet. As suddenly the tails then unfolded and shrunk down to nothingness, as we then see a orange-haired woman with 2 fox ears and red eyes with black slits in the middle of the mess. And she then says, Lord Minato, I'm sorry. Forgive me. It was the human's fault. In my beast form, I have a weak mind state and my mental state, and as Minato then said, calm down, Kurama. It is not your fault. You were controlled by a human. You were forced out of your realm, out of the seal, and that human controlled you to do all of this chaos. As he then said, listen, I'm going to tell you something I haven't even told any of the other demon lords or subjects or any demon. Not even my own wife, Kushina, who obviously didn't know I was a demon. But what I'm about to tell you can never leave your lips or your mind. What happens here stays between only us. Understood? As she then said, of course. As Minato then said, good. I'm dying. As she then looked at him with confusion and fear, as she then said, what? But Lord Minato, you should be fine. You haven't sustained any holy weapon injuries, or as Minato then said, no. It's not that I'm injured and dying. I'm fading. As Kurama then looked at Minato with shock. For those who don't know, in my AUs, demons are not from Demon Slayer, have only 2 known weaknesses, which are holy weapons and items and magic, or fading. Now, when a demon fades, in my AU, pretty much it's when a demon's core, or I guess you could say soul, is weakening and dying. Now, another part of my AU, every demon has 1 object. We call these cores. Pretty much, they're an object that easily describes what they are, but looks completely normal. Minato's object is, simple. It's a kunai, but not a flying Raijin kunai, oh no. It looks a lot more unholy and powerful and sacred. It has symbols written in a combination of Egyptian, ancient Sumerian, and Japanese, all at once on it, instead of just the regular flying Raijin seal. As he then said, I'm getting too old, and as you know, there's only 3 true ways a demon can die after even a demon lord or god could die. 1 when they use one, holy weapons and items and etc. etc. Two, fading, and three, losing all of their power. I'm basically being stripped out of their, basically having their mental state stripped from their soul stripped from their body, and their body stripped from their mental state. All three things basically being stripped away from each other. This is what is called a execution of the highest dishonor. As Minato then said, I've been alive for, well, you know. I am already over 5 quintillion years, 536 quintillion years old, and quintillion and 2 years old. However, over time, my magic has been, my skills and power have been depleting. My mana, and everything else. I've been saving. Now, I was thinking of trying to survive to at least have about 10 years with my son, but due to what happened tonight, I used the last of that mana up. In that one Rasengan, and stopping Obito from using his Kamui, and activating my arms. As he then said, now I know you're only around 1,000 years old. And I know you're only around about 2,000, maybe 3,000 years old. Meaning you have a very long time, and if you ever run out of time, you can obviously absorb the souls of the living. Now you know why I don't do. Now you know I don't do that because I feel like it's morally wrong. Morally wrong. As Minato then said, however, I have one request. Before I pass this realm and go on to the next, I merely request that you raise my son. As Minato then held out a shaky hand and said, deal? As she then said, deal. As the two then shook their hands. And suddenly, kaboom, it began. Minato then began to fade from existence, as the very mist-like smoke that he was made out of began whirling and spinning away. Like a comet. Imagine Minato's physical body like the rock of the comet, and the mist-like smoke being the dust, ice, and particles flying off of the comet. As Minato then said, well, this is goodbye, old friend. As she then said, I guess it is, master. As, within a blink of an eye, Minato Namikaze was no more. As she then looked at the young child with red eyes, with black slits in them, and 6 whisker marks. As she then said, I wonder, what will your what will you look like in the future? I mean, if you have your father's blood, you'll probably look like something cool. As she then touched Naruto's forehead and saw something that looked like, well, I'm about to show you, except imagine it with white. And with basically imagine it looking like Naruto and with and with 6 white glowing and 6 white glowing whisker marks where Naruto's are. Okay? As she saw something like this. As Naruto then and giggled in her hands, as she then said, "Don't worry, little one. I happen to know a place where we'll be safe." As she then knocked on, as she then turned into a normal-sized one-tailed fox. As she then grabbed Naruto by and grabbed a blanket that was holding Naruto by her teeth and started trotting away. Hours later, she reached what could only be described as a giant cliff or wall. Not at the top of it, no, the side. As she then turned into her humanoid form, as she then put her hand on it and said, "Ed, open." As suddenly the door and suddenly the wall all began to speak, as it then said, "Name and verification of power." As she then said, "Kurama. Name Kurama. Verification of power, 9 tails." As she then left some of her power in, and then put some of her power into the wall, as it then started unfolding and turned into a door. As she then walked through it and said, "Everyone, I have some good news and bad news." As suddenly 9 other demons looked at her. One with yellow and black eyes, and a very barbaric and caveman looking outfit. Another with blue and black eyes and a kimono. Another in a emperor or general's outfit. And I'm not going to exactly explain what all their outfits look like yet, as there was a rumbling, as we see a demon with what appears to be a combination of a Oni's outfit and a kimono, like a royal-looking divine kimono, and extremely deadly armor. As the creature had 2 eyes, and very long white hair, and pale, and normal-looking skin. As the woman then said, "Sister Kurama, tell me, what is the news you bring? I thought you were sealed inside of that Kushina woman. Has she passed of old age or died giving birth already? As Karama then said, no, it's worse than that. I was controlled by a human and killed her. As the 9 then looked at her and said, does Lord Minato know? And if so, then how in God and how in the divine and demonic blazes of hell are you alive? As she then said, Minato has faded. As suddenly all of the demons were quiet. Until the first demon with yellow and black eyes started chuckling insanely. As he then said, that's a good one. That's a very good joke. But seriously, isn't Minato gonna want to kill you? As she then looked at her sister, as Kurama then looked at her sister, her who had just laughed at her. As Kurama then said, as the woman who had laughed at Kurama then said, you're being serious. Holy smokes. As she then said, Lord Minato has given me one last command to protect and raise his son as my own. As the other 9 female demons then asked, may we help? As she then said, fine. But if Lord Minato if anything happens to the boy, you'll have to answer to me. As then the very elegant looking woman with the combination of Oni armor and divine kimono then said, and you'll have to also answer to me. As the 2 then smiled, wondering, as everyone then said alright, as Kurama then looked down at Naruto and smiled, wondering what the future would bring. And that is the end of part 0. Hope y'all have enjoyed. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye and skadoosh.